Get ready to sink your teeth into a riveting mystery that has been unsolved for almost 30 years. We're talking about the case of Lori Malloy, a woman who was found dead in her apartment in 1993 under suspicious circumstances. This case has everything: shady ex-husbands, sketchy medical examiners, and a trail of unanswered questions that has left Lori's family and friends desperate for answers. So buckle up, grab some popcorn, and get ready for a wild ride as we dive into the twists and turns of this fascinating case. It's a tale as old as time, or at least as old as 1993, and it all starts with a strange scene in Lori Malloy's apartment. Now, this ain't your run-of-the-mill mystery. Oh no, we're talking questions that have lasted for decades. Picture it: East Providence, Rhode Island, March 7th, 1993. Lori Lee Sled Dog Malloy, a feisty 30-year-old, is found dead on the bathroom floor of her apartment. What's weirder than a three-legged donkey? The fact that her boyfriend called the welfare check in the first place. And when the cops show up, they find the front door wide open and the bathroom sink running. What kind of shenanigans are going on here? But wait, there's more. The kitchen table is littered with not one, but 2 drinking glasses and leftover salad. What? Did Lori have a dinner guest who skipped out on the bill? And the cherry on top? The fridge is full of food, but unplugged. What the heck is going on here? Decades have passed, but Lori's daughter ain't giving up. She's on a mission to uncover the truth. Will she crack the case and finally solve this mystery? Only time will tell, dear friends. Only time will tell. Brace yourselves for a tale that will make your hair stand on end, literally. It all started when detectives from the East Providence Police Department stumbled upon a horrific scene. A young mother, completely naked and covered in bruises, lay sprawled out on the floor. But that's not even the worst part. Her long, dark locks were ripped out all over the apartment. That's right, folks, we've got a hair-raising mystery on our hands. The detectives got to work, scouring the apartment for any evidence they could find. They came across a clump of hair between the mother's toes, strands wrapped tightly around her fingers, and even a bracelet of hair around her other foot. It was like something out of a horror movie. But the madness didn't stop there. The detectives found 14 pieces of evidence in total, including a hair sample from a clump of light brown hair that looked like it had been yanked straight from someone's head. They also found a bath towel with some kind of gross, mucus-like substance on it, as well as the bed sheets and comforter from the master bedroom. To make matters even more disturbing, the detectives found several items of infant clothing scattered around the apartment. What kind of monster would do something like this to a young mother and her innocent child? The detectives completed a sexual assault kit, hoping to find some answers to this gruesome mystery. Will they be able to catch the culprit and bring them to justice? Only time will tell, my friends. Only time will tell. Gather round, dear readers, because we've got a sordid tale of love, loss, and betrayal. It all started with Lori's divorce from John Scary Harry Mariano, which was finalized a mere 3 weeks after her untimely death. But this ain't your typical Hollywood breakup, folks. Oh no. We've got a letter from John to Lori, written from his cozy prison cell just 8 months after their wedding. In it, he gives her an ultimatum: testify against him and see him in 2 years, or drop the charges and see him in just 6 months. Talk about a tough choice. But things only get worse from there. You see, John had a history of violence against Lori. In fact, he committed felony assault against her back in 1990 and even violated a protective order she had against him. What kind of monster would do something like that to his own wife? But wait, there's more. Lori also had trouble with her daughter's birth father, Thomas Kelly. She broke up with him in July 1992, but not before he started making threats about their daughter, Lauren. Lori wrote in her planner that his threats would settle soon. Unfortunately, Lori never got the chance to see that through, as she passed away shortly thereafter. To make matters even more heartbreaking, Lauren was eventually removed from Tommy's care after her mother's death. It's a tragic tale that will leave you with more questions than answers. Who was really responsible for Lori's death? And what kind of twisted relationships did she have with these men? Only time will tell, dear readers. Only time will tell. You see, Lori's original autopsy was conducted by a medical examiner who turned out to be a real piece of work. This guy had a reputation for misdiagnosing cases left and right, and eventually lost his license to practice in both Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Yikes! But here's the kicker: Lori's case was only missed by a few short months, back when this doctor was a temporary employee at the Rhode Island ME's office. And boy, did he ever mess things up. Despite his own notes describing the lack of major damage to Lori's heart, he incorrectly closed the case as a natural manner of death caused by hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. What? And that's not even the half of it. This so-called medical examiner didn't even make note of the condition of Lori's scalp or comment on her clean toxicology screening. Now, that's mighty curious considering all the notes about her case labeled Lori as a known cocaine user. What was this guy thinking? Or maybe the better question is, was he thinking at all? It's a real head-scratcher, folks. You see, back in the day, the East Providence Police Department closed their homicide investigation after the Rhode Island Medical Examiner's Office provided an amended manner and cause of death for Lori. But fast forward to modern times and things are heating up once again. In August of 2020, new information came to light that caused Lori's case to be reviewed by the EPPD, the RI Medical Examiner's Office, and the Attorney General's Office. The RI Cold Case Unit even got involved, sending the case back to the EPPD for further investigation. And that's when things really started to get interesting. In February of 2021, Lori's family obtained a copy of her 1993 autopsy report and weren't too happy with what they found. They challenged the report's findings with the RI Department of Health and, boy, did things take a turn. The senior me handling Lori's modern case review dropped a bombshell. Lori did not die of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and there was no obvious natural or unnatural reason for her to die. What? Lori's family was advised that she needed to be exhumed and her investigation completely redone to finally understand the true cause and manner of her death. The me even went so far as to refute the entire original autopsy from 1993. It's a shocking twist in an already baffling case, and we can't wait to see what happens next. It's been a wild ride for Lori Molloy's family in their quest for justice. After decades of questions surrounding Lori's death, they finally had a glimmer of hope when new information came to light in 2020. But things got even crazier when they discovered the original autopsy report was a load of hooey and that Lori's cause of death was still a mystery. With determination in their hearts, Lori's family pushed for her investigation to be redone, which led to the discovery of the original homicide investigation reports from 1993. And just when they thought they were making progress, the assistant AG assigned to the case was all like, "Meh, I don't see a good enough reason to reopen this case." But Lori's family wasn't about to give up that easily. They wanted answers and they wanted them now. So they turned to the media, and the case was finally made public in November 2021. Will Lori's family ever find out what really happened to her? Will justice be served? Stay tuned, folks. A top-notch forensic pathology specialist from New York City has weighed in on the case, and let's just say their conclusions are a real head-scratcher. After poring over Lori's autopsy reports from almost 30 years ago, the specialist had some major bombshells to drop. First of all, the cause and manner of Lori's death are still completely unknown after all these years. Say what now? And get this, the official cause of death listed on her autopsy report, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, doesn't even match up with the description of her heart's condition. That's some shady stuff right there. Oh, and did we mention the specialist found no reasonable explanation for Lori's congested lungs at the time of her death? Yeah, this case just keeps getting weirder and weirder. The specialist even went so far as to recommend that any residual tissues or slides be reviewed to establish a cause of death from a forensic pathology perspective. And last but not least, they believe the circumstances of Lori's death need to be investigated or reinvestigated by the police. Looks like we've got a real head-scratcher on our hands, folks. On March 17, 2022, the Rhode Island State Police informed the Attorney General's office that they were ready and raring to take over the investigation. But before they could sink their teeth into the case, they needed the AG's official order. Talk about a bureaucratic roadblock. In the meantime, Unsolved RI is putting their money where their mouth is by offering a cool $1,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest. It's a small price to pay for justice, but hey, every little bit helps. Now, let's talk about the woman behind the nickname. Sled Dog supporters have long wondered where she got her unusual moniker, and the answer is as wild as you might expect. Turns out, Lori earned the name during her adventures in Alaska, where she learned how to mush and became enamored with sled dogs. She was so passionate about these furry friends that her fellow mushers dubbed her Sled Dog or Sleddy for short. And even today, her friends and family honor her memory by using that beloved nickname. Rest in peace, Sled Dog. Well folks, that's all we have on the mysterious and intriguing case of Lori Molloy. We may never know the truth about what really happened to her, but one thing is for sure, her nickname Sled Dog will continue to live on in the hearts of her friends and loved ones. Let's hope that one day justice will be served and the truth will finally come to light. Until then, stay curious and keep your eyes peeled for any new developments. Who knows? Maybe one of you out there will be the one to crack this case wide open. Thanks for tuning in.